All right, there we go. Hey to each of y'all. I think by this point everybody has heard the news that we lost Paul Harrell yesterday, and not a surprise that we lost him. We knew it was coming, and they had done the update 2 days ago. His team had. I was flying yesterday, and we landed in Nevada last night. And when I turned my phone back on, holy smokes! I mean, everybody had sent me texts and emails, and just a lot of folks reaching out saying, "Hey, have you heard?" or "I'm sorry." And Paul was one of the best among us, if not the best among us, in his own way. And I think I want to use the word eloquent. I've been thinking about him this morning, and it's still early on the West Coast here. And I've been thinking about this morning because my brain's on East Coast time, so I've already been up for hours and hours. And I've been going through just stories and watching people's videos and watching people's tributes. And I'm going to use the word eloquent. I mean, just an understated eloquence, the way that he communicated. And I just think that's for me where he's at in my mind and my heart today. I want to talk to you a little bit about my relationship with Paul and just a few thoughts about him in remembrance the day after he passed. And for whatever reason, I don't even know how this happened. A couple years ago, well, many years ago, 6-7 years ago, I had a silly show in my garage. I would go in there and I would sweat in the summer from no air conditioning. I would freeze in the winter from no heat. And for whatever reason, that one video, deep into a Paul Harrell video, I mean, we're talking like 30, 40 minutes deep, he says, he has two guns out and he goes, "This gun fits my hand better than this one does." And it's so funny. That video is still funny to me, that little clip. It's at the end of every video I've ever done. And a lot of new folks to my channel have said, "Johnny, why do you have that in there?" I don't know, I just think it's funny. "This gun fits my hand better." The way he says it. And so I started, I don't know the right words, picking on Paul a little bit or celebrating him a little bit years and years ago. And for whatever reason, I don't know how it happened, our channels kind of had a little bit of a connection. Paul did a lot of little wink, wink, tap your nose shout outs to me in videos over the years. And I remember the one time people were hitting me and they're like, "Johnny, did you see his last video?" He's like, "Yes, this gun does fit my hand better than this one." He did a little shout out and it was fun. It's been a fun connection over the years. And for whatever reason, and boy, am I thankful. I'm thankful for this, but for whatever reason, my channel has been connected to his for a long time. And so it was funny yesterday when I landed, people reached out and they said, "Johnny, are you going to do a tribute? Johnny, what are you going to say? Johnny, what do you have to say?" I'm going to say he's the best. I'm going to say he's the best among us. I even did a quote this morning to NBC Universal, and that was from the t-shirt side. And that's a whole other side of things. Y'all know that I'm one of the owners of a t-shirt company, and TriStar Trading is the name of it. And proud that over the last year, we've got to connect with Paul. And I got to be one of the ones that facilitated the fundraiser back in February. If you missed that, and I doubt that you did, 52 creators, 52 men and women that have channels, they got together and did a fundraiser for Paul Harrell and his family. And there was a lot of back and forth on a lot of conversations. I will say this, the Paul Harrell team, Roy and then Brad, his producer, and Paul himself, they've been a class act to work with, a real class act. And so through all of those weeks, and actually it was a few months, we were able to raise and send Paul what I thought was a pretty cool check. It really was. Just money. Money doesn't matter. Money's gone. Money's gone at the end of our lives. But it was still pretty cool. And people were able to reach out. And I just thought, just what a cool thing to be a part of looking back. I think Paul was also funny. In his own way, like he's got that face on, but I think he's funny in his own way. He knew what he was doing when he was in SpongeBob pajama pants, shooting in the rain, in a bed on the range. And in his own way, that guy's a comedian. And I don't think anybody, maybe besides me, would call him a comedian, but I think he's funny. I really do. The very first time, I never met Paul. Never met him in person. It didn't work out. I'm in Tennessee and he's out west. He hollered, his team hollered and said, "Hey, Paul wants to meet you." This is back in March, and he knew he was getting towards the end. And the way it worked out, that get together where Paul wanted to meet me and hang out and fellowship a little bit was the very night of my 50th birthday party. And I had it was just, the ball was rolling. There's nothing I could do. The first time I talked to him on the phone, we were working on some t-shirt stuff, and he said, Johnny, what do you need from me? And I was like, well, when you go into business with somebody, sometimes things can get sideways. Things are going good, and then because of money gets in the way, things go sideways. And so I told him what I tell everybody we work with is, at the end of the day, when business is gone, I want to still be friends. And Paul's like, oh, dude, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that at all. We're going to be friends. We'll do our business on one side, but on the other, we're going to be friends. And I thought that was really cool of him. My favorite thing about the first time I met him on the phone is he said, Johnny, I want you to talk to Brad, my producer. And Brad's a class act. And I'm like, Paul, why? Why can't I talk to the man? He said, Johnny, I have a flip phone. Of freaking course, Paul Harrell had a flip phone. And I don't know in the couple years since then if he had upgraded since then. But of course, Paul Harrell in the 2020s had a flip phone. I think that's fantastic. Some of y'all know this. One of the things I do is in another hat that I wear in my life, I put on a hat where I teach people to communicate. I teach people to talk. I teach people to do this. And as I don't know the right word, a professional communications, whatever, Paul was good. I can remember getting chills watching him. His ability to rattle long form, and that's kind of diminishing. His ability to share a message, long form, and not just do it eloquently, but to do it without notes and in complete sentences and complete thoughts, complete paragraphs. It's unparalleled, especially in the 2A world. But I'm going to say he's unparalleled. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody communicate as fluidly, beautifully. He is the best among us in that area, in his communication skills. Just masterful. When I think about Paul Harrell, obviously we all think about the carry handle M16. We think about his ear pro dangling from his collar. Think about that jacket. It's funny, I ordered, 2 days ago, I ordered one of those jackets on eBay. So mine's in the mail. I've got one coming, and then 2 days later, he's gone. It's funny with this one, I brought this. I'm headed to Thunder Ranch today I'm headed to Thunder Ranch. And I wanted to wear this on the range in memory of Paul, but he's gone. And so I'm wearing it today for this video. And when I think about Paul and all of the things we think about, the jacket and the old school guns and the old school knowledge, I think it's funny that in his goodbye video yesterday, which he had filmed months and months ago, he mentioned that Knucklehead, and I'm not even going to mention his name, but he mentioned having to, defend himself or do a rebuttal. I think my favorite Paul Harrell video of all times, and the short version is, there was a Knucklehead. He was a YouTuber, not one of us, not part of our community, but he was a YouTuber. And he did a video calling out Paul Harrell, and it was wrong, but he called out Paul pretty hard. Paul does a 1 hour, I'm going to use the word murder. He verbally murdered that guy eviscerated him. If you've never seen that video, I'll find it. I'll link to it down below. Even if you don't have a full hour to put in there, because he called into question Paul's credentials. Oh, Paul Harrell's he's never done anything real. Because this guy's a competition shooter, and he goes and collects ribbons and medals on the weekends. He's a good shooter, the guy is. But he calls into question Paul Harrell's authenticity on the range. Whew, mamacita. Paul eviscerates him, but even if you don't have a full hour, the last 10 minutes where Paul gets the tables out in front of him, I think that's probably, maybe other than the meat targets, other than SpongeBob pants, probably my favorite 10 minutes of Paul Harrell. So it's worth watching. I'm going to watch that again today also. I think for me, it's been an honor to be connected to Paul and his channel in whatever little way I have been. It's been a ride. It's been fun. A lot of folks are using the word respect today. I think deep respect is the right word. Like, I think we all deeply respect that guy. Godspeed to Roy and his team. They are they're going to continue this thing rolling, which is Paul's wishes. I think that's pretty awesome, pretty awesome. And again, third time, that they're super, super classy folks. I think my final thought about Paul, I got up this morning and I had listened to it in the airport, his goodbye video yesterday when I landed. I was waiting in line for my bags. I listened to the video, but this morning I watched it again. And Paul apologized to us for his death. That is the most Paul Harrell thing ever. So we say goodbye to him. I said in the NBC quote this morning, I was like, he's already missed. And yeah, there's nobody's going to feel those combat boots. Nobody will feel those shoes. Nobody will. And that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Good dude. Very good at what he did. And I think he had in that video, I think he had some semblance of understanding the place that he held for in the Second Amendment community, in that he mentioned, I'm so proud to have laid out what all I have, everything that I've done, I'm proud. I think he knows the vastness of his catalog, and it's all still there, and it's really, really cool. Long form videos where you actually learn something. Good dude. I am proud to have been a part in any little way of the Paul Harrell universe. I'm proud that he was connected to me. I will treasure the shout outs he gave to me. He wrote me and Emily at TriStar also. She and I did the fundraiser together. Y'all did the fundraiser. To be clear, y'all did the fundraiser. We moved lots of shirts from semi trucks to the mailbox. But he sent some playing cards to Emily and myself, and he had shot holes in them and then signed them. And I'm going to get those framed next week. It's really, really cool. I think Class is the right guy. Classy dude. Today, we say bye to Paul Harrell, and he will be missed. Godspeed. And I think the right words are, you be the judge.
This gun fits my hand better than this one does.